Good afternoon. We're back with more Lord of the Rings LCG, and today is the Treachery of Rhudaur on Nightmare difficulty. This is a quest in which there are 3 side quests, and each one, when completed, offers some benefit for the player. And if you don't complete one or more of them, then they offer some punishment for future stages. So I'm just reading to see if there's any specific setup rules. So you have 3 sets of, I think 3 or 4 cards each that are out of play to start the game. And they remain out of play if you complete all the side quests. If you don't, then 1 or more of them get shuffled back into the encounter deck, possibly to punish you for not completing the side quests. It is a challenge to complete all 3 side quests. You only have 5 rounds. When that time clock gets down to 0, you move on to phase 2 whether you want to or not. So we'll try and get set up here. Got a lot of resources. 2 Men of the West in the opening hand. I'm never happy to see that. There's the Steward of Gondor. Well, that's the second Steward of Gondor. I already have Steward of Gondor. So I'll just grab one of the Outlands allies. Unfortunately, not an Ethir Swordsman. And I decide that I will use the secondary function of Heed the Dream here, since I have a ton of resources, to find an Ethir Swordsman, and then I can play Knight of the Swan, Ethir Swordsman, and Hunter of Lamedon. So if I'd thought about that Heed the Dream before I played it, I would not have grabbed Anfalas Herdsman out of the top 5 cards. I would have grabbed probably an Accelerator if there was one. I don't remember if there was. We start out with an active location, which will bring an enemy into play when it is explored. And we're going to be working on the middle side quest. Each of the side quests have a different obstacle to overcome when it is the active side quest, though they don't do anything when they are not the active side quest. So I chose the one to work on that has the most mild effect. I believe it adds 1 threat to the locations in the staging area or something like that. So we're off and running. I'm not going to go too hard to complete the side quests, because I don't think the punishment for not doing it is that bad. This is a relatively mild quest as far as difficulty goes. At least compared to the quest that comes after it, which is the Battle of Carindum. So the enemy is going to be a White of Rhudaur. While the quest has 1 or more progress, he gains Surge. If it has 0 progress, he gets Doom 2. And the quest does have 0 progress, though not anymore. So that's going to clear the Great Hall, which is going to mean I have to discard the top 5 cards of the encounter deck and choose an undead enemy discarded to add to the staging area. So one of these enemies is going to be added to staging. And I don't want to choose the indestructible one. So I'll choose the Traitorous White. When he engages a player, remove 2 progress from each quest card in play. So get the Ancient Causeway out of staging. The attachment there isn't too bad. It just adds 6 quest points to the quest. So I have to engage the white. But I've got Denethor and a Marthiel available for defense. And he's going to get +1, so 1 damage on Denethor. And that will be round number 2, so the time clock will be down to 3. Just 3 more turns. As you can tell, completing all 3 side quests would be quite a challenge. Indeed, some decks will find it a challenge to complete even 1. Probably could have gotten 2 if I really pushed for it, I'm not sure. I don't have a lot of willpower on the table. If I got the ideal draw with this deck, maybe I could get all 3 in 5 rounds. They have 16, 18, and 14, so basically you got like 2 turns to set up, and then you need to complete 1 per round. That would be tough in solo play. So the first 2 progress that would be placed on the quest must be placed on the location in the staging area instead. And I'm thinking about, well, no, not thinking about whether to engage the traitorous white. I'm at 32 threat, so I have to. And that's going to remove 2 progress from the quest. So with 3 Knights of the Swan on the table, combat's not going to be an issue. I'll have 1 attack go on a Marthiel. It's a little risky. If the shadow card was a +2, I could lose the game right here. Denethor I don't care as much about losing. So now I got plenty of combat power for taking out these enemies. It's going to be 4, 8. I don't know why I sent 3 guys. That was way overkill. That was 12. Now I realize that I only needed 2 of them. Just gonna recount here. Could send 2 Knights of the Swan. Yep. And then leaves plenty left over. We're on to the next round, so the Doom Clock will be down to 2 now. So I'll be able to sift through the debris. Maybe more if I get another Ethir Swordsman here. Or I could choose to grab Faramir. I only have 1 Men of the West remaining in the deck. But I do choose Faramir. Yeah, I do have 1 Men of the West left, so it can be used to grab that Ethir Swordsman when it comes. And I am remembering that I cleared a couple of locations and didn't remember to put progress on the quest, or did I? I'm not sure about that. I'm actually debating right now whether I want to clear this quest, because you have to choose one of the side quests as the active quest, and the others seem to have worse effects. So I was actually thinking about whether I want to complete Sift Through the Debris or not. I actually think the easiest path through this quest is not to complete any of the side quests. But I figure I'll clear 1 and see what happens. The first player must choose a new quest to be the current quest, so I'll choose Quiet the Spirits. And I must exhaust a character I control, and Quiet the Spirits is going to get +6 quest points. So I should put 2 progress on sift through the debris for exploring the location. It's going to clear quiet the spirits, which is going to flip quiet the spirits over. It becomes a clue objective. And I can exhaust a Marthiel or a hero to claim this, and the attached enemy will get +1. Attached character will get +1 attack when attacking undead, so that's a pretty mild buff. So this will be the last turn before we move on to phase 2. And I'll work on sift through the debris once again. Just counting real quick how much I want to quest for. Still only 1 Ethir Swordsman, and I decide I'm not going to go for it, since I might have to defeat a boss or some combination of enemies when I move on to phase 2. I'm going to play conservatively. And in this case, I had to deal 1 damage to each exhausted character, so if I'd gone for it hard, I would have taken a lot of damage on my allies. I don't know if that would have made a difference or not, but in this case, saved myself some damage. So because of Search Through the Ruins, I cannot, or what is it, I raise threat? At the end of the refresh phase, I raise threat by 2. But the phase 1 of the quest says you remove all side quests when you move on. But it actually says each Treachery of Rhudaur side quest, so I think I should have left Search Through the Ruins in the staging area, because I don't think it's a Treachery of Rhudaur side quest. I think that refers to sift through the debris or decipher ancient texts. So should be taking an additional 2 threat at the end of each refresh phase. And these additional nightmare cards come into the encounter deck, or shuffled into the encounter deck, as a result of not clearing 2 of the side quests. So they could potentially punish me for that. Location and a treachery. And we're going to add Faramir to the staging area, search the encounter deck and discard pile for an undead enemy. Grab one of the traitorous whites again. So it's going to have 25 quest points, since I have 1 clue objective, phase 2 is, and I need to max out Faramir's hit points. So my threat should be at 39 now, thanks to the side quest, which should still be in the staging area. And I will quest to get my 25 quest points and max out Faramir. Gonna quest lightly here and focus on combat. Forgotten Courtyard. No problem, I'll just go ahead and move there. Gotta remove 2 progress from the quest for the traitorous white. Thinking about whether I want to use a chump blocker for this enemy or not, and I decide I do. So it's going to eliminate the Envoy of Pelargir. And we'll use one for Faramir as well. So we can easily take out the Traitorous Wight and max the damage on Faramir. He is indestructible, so he's going to stay on the board. If a sorcery card comes, he's going to heal. But as of right now, if I just make 24 progress on the quest, I will end the game. Another Ethir Swordsman would be very helpful in doing that. Somewhere in the 7 cards left in the deck, there's one more, and then there's one in the discard pile, which I can grab now with Men of the West. So the 25 progress should be no problem here. And as long as a sorcery card doesn't come, that will end the game. My threat here should be at 42. As the side quest Search the Ruins should still be in the staging area, and it adds 2 threat at the end of each refresh phase. And there is a sorcery card, so that's going to heal Faramir for 3, and he's going to make an immediate attack. But no problem, I can just redeal the damage. So I add threat for the 3 cards that are discarded with that treachery, and no threat was discarded, so it doesn't do anything except give Faramir an attack. And for each point of damage, I had to remove 1 progress from the quest. So that's going to delay the game by a couple of phases, but no problem. 29 progress is more than the 25 I need. It's -5 due to the 1 clue I control. So now Faramir gets another attack. Just going to deal 2 damage. And then I can attack back and put the remaining hit points on him that I need, and that will end the game. So this is a... Wait, why did I... Oh, I had forgotten that I controlled a clue. And I only needed 25 quest points. I thought that I needed 1 more. So that's why I'm continuing here. That's funny. Well, this is a relatively mild quest in terms of difficulty. It would be harder if there was a higher penalty for not completing the side quest. If the penalty was harsh enough, that would be very difficult because it is very difficult to complete all 3 side quests. They provide a relatively minor buff as a reward, and a little bit easier Phase 2B. But in any case, it's perfectly viable not to clear any of the side quests. Next up will be the Battle of Cairn Dûm on Nightmare mode, and thank you for watching.